Right, so here on the Morning Show, we love to answer all your questions about African spirituality and what it actually means. And today is no different. Joining us in studio is Gogo Khanyakude, who's going to be speaking to you and I about Amabai and their meaning. Thokoza, Gogo.
Thokoza, how are you?
Let me first just compliment you on your outfit, right? Why are you not wearing Ibai? You're in a white suit, very silk shirt, fashionable guy.
Well, I think if we understood perhaps that Amabai are just sort of a cultural evolution where before we used to wear skins and adorn ourselves with skin.
Right.
So they are a textile much no different to the clothing.
Okay.
It's just that they have a certain connotation and intention that is associated with them, the same as a suit or a swimming costume has a certain intention and a connotation to it.
So in what setting would you be required to wear Ibai and not a suit?
So for me, it would be when I'm in my home space and I'm practicing.
Okay.
So if somebody has come to consult, I will put on Ibai.
Right.
If I'm going to a traditional, event like Umkiti, which is a ceremony, I would put on my full regalia.
Okay.
Because it's almost like a uniform.
Yeah.
Put it like that.
I get you. And I'm seeing different colors, Gogo. I mean, there's yellows, there's reds, there's blue, blacks, and greens. What do each of these mean and represent, and who gets to wear them?
I mean, when it comes to Amabai, anyone can actually really wear them because, as I'm saying, it's around the intention and the connotation which is associated to them.
Okay.
Let's say, So as abantwana who's coming from a home where these people who have initiated, you would have those cloths.
Right.
In your home, perhaps, for example, if you are Swati, you would makshatiwa or whatever, you would adorn a cloth like this, which we call lhau.
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 Okay.
There are different versions of them. So they can be adorned really by anyone. It's just that they are sort of associated more specifically with Tsine Bangoma.
Okay. And I understand obviously the colors or the specific design of Ibai is not something you would pick yourself.
Yes.
It has to come through different forms. Please talk us through that.
So if we understand that being a Sangoma is basically initiating in your lineage, it's around connecting with your history.
Right.
So these bais are a physical connector to your lineage. As I've spoken, if Umswati, njengoba nami ngimswati, as part of my Dlozi regalia, I will have Lili Hauleli. I may even have one that says Eswatini. I may even have one of King Mswati himself to connect with that bloodline of myself.
Right.
Perhaps if I come from north of South Africa and I'm perhaps Venda or Pedi, I would have Injeti because that is traditionally, associated with the Venda people. And this one is quite beautiful because outside of the cultural, connected to the lineage, they also have certain alchemic codes to them. And this is one that has one of the most beautiful.
Okay.
If you look at the pattern closely, it mirrors that which is a lotus flower.
Oh.
So the lotus flower is a water flower, one that grows in water. So Injeti is also for Amandawi, or those are the ancestors of the water. And the encoding then of the lotus in it is representative of those ancestors who live in the water or those of the water.
Right. And we are seeing a lot of fashion within the Sangoma hood space. So someone would be wearing a suit or even a duke made of this pattern. Is that where things are going next? What do you think trends-wise, Gogo?
I mean, as I said in the beginning, culture is not static, it's dynamic, it evolves. And in the same way as our ancestors before adapted to these textiles, we are now merging how we dress with, our cultural expression, because we also are now in a place where we are free and we're liberated to be able to express and to freely celebrate who we are. Whereas our forefathers didn't have the same opportunity because of the Witchcraft Suppression Act, which outlawed any sort of cultural expression that had to do with Bungoma and African spirituality specifically.
Okay, let's talk then about Amatwasa. Usually, they're dressed in red. Is there a particular reason for that? If there is, please unpack it for us.
Okay, so everything in African spirituality is around nature and is taken from how we connect with the codes that we receive from nature.
Sure.
So the color red is one that firstly signifies blood. So blood connecting to then also our DNA, because we inherit our ancestors from our DNA. It's encoded in our DNA. So that red, wearing red, is a signifier of connecting with those blood ancestors.
Yeah.
And it's a representation of it, because African culture is one that is a lived experience or a practical sort of a spiritual expression. So that's why you find Amatwasa wearing red a lot. It's to connect with those gifts of the lineage, the gifts of the blood.
And where would they have gotten the information on the color and the type of ibai to wear? Would it something that they dream about? Would they have to go and consult? What's the process? First step.
So in terms of Amabai, it's something that there isn't an either or approach. So if you are perhaps coming to Twasagini, there'll be certain, standard uniform, much like in any school, that has to do with the representation of Limbanze or the family tree which you are under. Therefore, the bais would then be the fruit that grows from the root, which is where you're initiating from.
Meaning now you as Ukobela of the Twasa coming to you.
Yes, like for example, I could show you specifically this, the serpent. So the serpent in, African knowledge represents the divine feminine, rebirth, that cyclical nature. So for me, carrying a lot of Okoko and also then carrying, that divine feminine energy, it is then a representation of the gift bearer, Gogo Khanyakude, because she is a female. So my Twasas would have it in order to connect to that ancestor who they then refer to as Ubaba or Uma, your spiritual parent. So it becomes a connector and a signifier, that is where I come from. But that also said, somebody else could dream of this cloth with a snake because perhaps their grandmother comes from a specific place in Shai where impanzi yakhona bayibita bomabona bayibulala inyoka bayishiya endleleni yakubona. So the snake then would be giving you a historical clue as to your gift bearer, where they had initiated from. And once having gotten the cloth and pashed for it, it would then allow for you to use it as a conduit to connect to that collective consciousness of your grandmother, and then her further going on and giving you the information as I've narrated it now.
Awesome stuff, Gogo. Listen, thank you so much for your time. I know this is an ongoing series, and we are going to have you back. If you have any questions for Gogo Khanyakude, you can let us know via WhatsApp. Our line is 072-411-6528, and of course, we'll load up this conversation on our Facebook page at Morningshowsa, and Gogo will happily answer your questions. Stay with us.